I walked away for 2 seconds and she sounds like a rotary. So this is our last shop project we got in right now. I kind of cut it early on the work because I was trying to have work set up till Friday. I got work set up till today, Wednesday. So we're going to get this one out. I did come in last night. I got the new sensor installed, and what do you know it? The check engine light goes out. We have the grid heater hooked up. I have the Mega Cab should be picked up tomorrow night or Friday night. And I got to do axle seals on this. So unfortunately, content with this has been very limited because it just hasn't broken. Like literally, the last thing I did to this was pull the camshaft out and do all of like the front gaskets and whatnot. And it does not leak a speck of oil. And it now has 270,000 miles. So 9,000 miles later, we need to do the axle seals and an oil change. So we're going to be getting on that at some point. But this truck has just been like, it just works. Like, that's what's crazy about it. You throw a little bit of money at something. Yes, we still have the injectors and trans issue, but it's irrelevant at this point because, I mean, we have the parts truck coming. So this thing's going to be an absolute animal. So think about it this way. Stick shift, new injectors, and a 6265 turbo. We're going to be getting rid of the factory HE351 if all goes well. So bigger turbo, all that, and still waiting on a bumper. But this thing is just, I've just been using it, you know? It's been a killer mobile rig. A bunch of you guys had some suggestions. I thought about we just got this box off of Josh's. I thought about cutting like the bottom out to put like all this stuff in it. I don't know how well everything would fit. Or we just leave it like that. I'm not sure what I want to do yet. I like this box, but it is just way too deep. And for me to use it, I'm going to have to ruin it like I did this one. We'll see. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Or if you guys have a box that looks just like that, if you guys want to buy it, let me know. But we have this one today. Remember, we had the map sensor code, which we got that taken care of. And we also got the turbo boost sensor code. I went through and did a diag on that. By the way, guys, diags for the most part, unless said otherwise, a diag is generally an hour fee. Most dealerships do it. Most shops do it. Diag is about an hour. Okay, that's what we charge for that flat rate to do a full diagnostic, depending on what it is. Now, if it's something where it's like, I took my transmission to get diagged the one day, and they drove it around and said, "Yep, that's what it is. We need to tear the transmission down to find out what the actual problem is." You know, that's one of those like extreme examples. But I'm gonna get this thing pulled out. Let's see. You guys will see grid heater. Start. There we go. You see that? No light. So we're gonna go drive it around. I have the big box today. Let's get this thing out of the shop. I sent him a picture yesterday and he was super happy. But all we've done is get rid of the hard codes, which that was the big issue. Every time you'd clear the codes, it wouldn't actually clear the code. But we're gonna go drive it, we're gonna shut it off, we're gonna turn it back on, we're gonna do a bunch of different things to make sure that the code is out for the customer. There we go. All right, so the goal is gonna be to put at least 10 miles on it. We started at about 410 on the odometer down there. So we're gonna try to get it up to about 420, if not a little bit more. I just took it up the mountain, and then coming back down the mountain, we put it in tow haul mode so it can have a nice load on it, and then we let off tow haul mode about halfway down. So I wanted to try both. No issues thus far. I want to wait till it gets warmed up, maybe do 1 or 2 good wide open throttle pulls just to make sure that, you know, it's reading in its range and we don't get any overboost codes. Overboost codes in the winter are a common issue with these trucks. I always was getting overboost codes. I'm gonna take it around, put some load under it. We're not just gonna drive it, you know, super easy the entire time. This is a nice cruiser flat road, but we do have some hills. Obviously not gonna beat it, but you know, we get some hills, it'll put it under a little bit of a load. That way we can check it through all ranges. It likes to be above, you know, around 2,500 RPM climbing some of these hills. So, and just in case something goes wrong, we got the big box to verify, but this is one of those like simple diagnostic, just waiting on the part. All right, so I've kind of blocked everything out on this sheet, but you guys can see all the stuff that we actually went through and did to this thing. Truck maintenance. So last thing I did that it actually needed was the front case gasket, which is right here, 261 120, and we're at 269,857. So what we're going to be doing, we did do the transmission cooler and full send diesel lines. We are going to be doing the oil change today, which we got a Baldwin filter, and I have switched over to this mobile Delvac stuff because I used it before in my 12 valves, and you guys told me that this stuff is actually really, really good, and it's really cheap compared to the T4. I have a little bit of T4 left up there, or T6, sorry. I have a little bit of T6 left up there, but you guys, I said this is just some cheap Walmart oil, and y'all were like, no, that's good stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna use it, because this was like $33, whereas if I were to go get the T6, it's like $65. So screw it. We're going to run it. You guys told me to do it, so I'm going to try it, because like every time I talk shit about something, y'all have something to say. Like I said something about Fram filters, and y'all were like, no, they're actually good. Screw Fram. I don't like Fram. But I did get a Baldwin filter. That's what our local parts guys could get. I usually run OEM Mopar stuff, but the fact that I can get Baldwins locally is pretty good, because I do like Baldwins, but since I like Baldwins, someone will probably say something. We also got 5 quarts of synthetic gear oil, 7590. Yes, I could run 75140, but the guys at the parts store, they said they all take 7590, so that's what we're going to go with. And then we got 2 axle seals. I don't know if they only had 1 in stock per brand. So I'll show you. This is the issue we're having, which we're not going to do brakes today. Ugh, damn exhaust tip. That thing is a friggin' trash can. You guys can see it is leaking from the axle seal. So same with that side. So we're going to do both of them. I'm not going to do brakes today because I am going to be getting, I like Detroit Axle for brakes. So we're going to be getting some rotors and pads from them. You guys can see all the throwing all that. Yes, we are also going to change the diff fluid. I actually have not changed the diff fluid since I bought the truck. I have not changed pretty much anything other than oil and fuel filters. I did do the transmission fluid once. I'm trying to debate on the G56 if I should just sell the original trans, because the trans is fine. It's the torque converter that's bad. So it's like, I don't know yet what I want to do. If I end up liking the G56, maybe we just keep the G56. I don't know yet. Indecisive on that part. It's just, I like the 48RE, but after seeing all the guys in the comments on other videos, everyone's like, keeping it cool is the biggest thing. And I got good lines up to a front transmission cooler, but the problem is, like, if you're sitting in traffic or something, you have to either throw it in neutral or park to get the temperature. Like, I don't know. We'll see if it's worth it or not. So it goes to show you, I beat the absolute piss out of this truck on a daily basis. Burnouts, just beating the absolute hell out of it. You can tell because these tires were like, had a lot more tread on them when I bought it. But I need to stop doing that. But like, it goes to show you, like, I fixed this truck once, and you know, now it's basically just doing maintenance and whatnot. We do have that drive shaft I dropped off the other day. So that's going to be going on here with all brand new stuff. And what that means is, you know, this thing's going to be hopefully as solid as possible. I'm not going to worry about the transfer case or transmission because we're going to be putting new stuff in it anyway. But the brake pads are actually very good. I was about to go buy brakes for this thing, so I am not going to do that. I could have probably done some, like, slotted rotors or whatnot, but we're going to wait until we absolutely need it. So I'm going to get everything pulled off. We're changing everything fluid-wise. I've actually, funny enough, my last truck, I never had to replace an axle seal. So, like, this is a first for me on my own stuff. But I'm going to have a list of things to do today to try and get this thing together. I also kind of came in here and scrubbed this hitch, but you guys can see, like, it's not that bad. There's, like, the bed itself. This bed is trash. I'm going to show you. I'll show you just how bad this bed is. That side's perfect, but this side, you guys see that little crease right there? Somebody tried to fix it over here. You can wiggle this whole bed side right here. And that's why that ended up tearing. You can see it right there. So it needs a good weld across the seam here. Look at that. I don't know if the camera does it justice. But yeah, this whole back section here, you can wiggle it. So that's what happened. I'm going to have to go through and clean up all the, like, the old grease and whatnot. Everything other than that looks all right, except something minor. One, the back pad was put on the front. This is a back pad. It was on the front. Looks brand new. But one of them is a little uneven. You can see there's a little bit of warpage there. So, gonna work on getting a set of rear brake pads and a rotor, and we'll check this caliper out. I actually popped this inside there while it was here and was able to get this one in. So everything's good there. I mean, it moves pretty well. So it's not seized or anything like that. This is a small pry bar. We'll get this bracket off and we'll get this rotor off. All right, here's where we're at. This is not a how-to video by any means, but I got the seal out and whatnot. I don't know. Someone looks like they tried to put silicone on it. So the bearings themselves look great. I was going to buy a new set, but they look really, really good. So we'll just get them, throw them back in, mainly because, I mean, the fluid actually looks really, really good for what it is. So somebody did do a change on this. We are going to get the cleaning of everything on the inside. The e-brake still works, so I'm not going to mess with it. I am going to try to get all this stuff clean in here, clean off everything in here where the seal's going to ride, and we'll go from there. A little nick right there, so I'm hoping that's not going to cause any problems, but I'm going to try to clean it up. And this is a locking rear, so you can't spin. When this truck's in park, a lot of times you can spin one wheel. In this case, you cannot. So whereas on the front, if you're in park and four-wheel drive, you can pick one side up and spin it, and the other side will stay locked. So it's kind of like, in this case, we have a good rear end, so I want to service it well and go from there. Like I said, e-brake still works, so I'm not going to mess with it, because every time I mess with an e-brake, it gets to be a pain. It looks like somebody refreshed this at some point as well. So somebody's been in here before, and they probably just didn't replace the seal is all. I've never had to replace the seals on mine, like I was saying, but it is just one of those, like, it's time. All right, new seal is in. Here's the old seal. You guys can see, it looks like it was torn a little bit. Definitely a little bit of crud in it. So now the nice new one, we'll get her slammed back on. I did Scotch Brite it, clean it out a little bit. And I do need to clean off like the back side and whatnot, but for now, she's all right. I'm gonna have to clean off the back of the tire too. Yeah, this one will definitely need a little bit of cleaning. But let's get her back on. She is not going to leak. We got it all back together. We got everything set. So I got it torqued down as much as possible. Pounded that on with a mallet while we spun it. And then backed it off just enough so you can see. Backed it off to the next one. Basically, these are like trailer brakes. You're going to want to get it on as hard as possible. Make sure it's seated. Make sure there's no slop in it. All the way on, and then back it off to the next. So that's perfect. It's not going to go anywhere. There's a pin in there, and then that's in there, and then the axle goes over top of that. So I'm going to get this all cleaned up. Going to push off the internet again with this one. Don't bring your brakes to me to have them done, because I'll grease the slides. Caliper grease. And come over here. Put a little bit on the slides. That's a lot of bit. I didn't mean to do that. But doesn't matter if they're done from factory. It really doesn't matter. You should still grease the slides. Coming from a 30-year master mechanic, I'll take the advice over that. Some people were genuine about it, but then you have the other guys that are like total dick riders. Like, some people just comment on the videos literally and watch them all just to find something to bitch about. I started kind of blocking those people out, because it's just like, it does kind of get old. Try to only really push positivity around here, and unfortunately some people don't understand that, and some people follow me literally just to talk shit. But then other guys, like, I like the guys out here that are actually like giving quality advice and not just being dickheads, you know? So there's that. Look at that. See, now that's gonna slide nicely on that track. We're going to have good brakes. So I'm going to get this cleaned up. I cleaned this up, got all the oil and all the old crap off of it. Usually I put on a customer vehicle, I'll put like one lug nut on so that this holds this whole thing flat. But I'm going to get this pressed in, cleaned off, and because there is a lot in there. So I need to get all that out before I do anything. Push the caliper in, and we'll go from there. All right, so I'm also greasing the shit out of these because they were kind of old and whatnot. So whoever did it before did not do that. I want to fill these up with some grease. Pop that in there. You got to be super careful because I want most of the grease to stay on the inside. So these things like to fight you. I can't do this one-handed. So I'm going to get these pressed in, and then I'm not going to show you. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to grease the hell out of these bolts, make sure they slide nice in there, and we'll have good brakes, and hopefully prolong the life of these brakes because one pad was a little bit less than the other, so these were a little tight and seized in there. So this side was bad enough that there's a dot on the ground. The other side's done. Greased up calipers are, everybody loves this stuff. Even says on the picture, use on the brake pads. It's literally on there. So they're made to grease the slides. I don't care. Makes the brakes better. Makes them last longer. Doesn't matter. Dirt sticks to friggin'. There's guys who'll go fluid film the shit out of their frames because they want to prevent rust. That attracts dirt. Hate to break the news to you. People still do it. It's just one of those. You got to get it, You want good brakes, you got to make sacrifices. That's all I'm saying. So let's get this guy off. This one's not as bad, but it did leave a little dot on the ground. So this one isn't as bad. It wasn't flinging as bad. It just had a little drip. Other than the pads being on backwards, which I don't know how much it really matters, but these go in the back. So a business partner just called me about the shop. Keep in mind, he's got a really high credit score, like 830. So that's what we're going off of to get a new shop. And this location wasn't the best location out there. We found a 4-bay shop with an external lot down the street. And they actually denied him. And mind you, we have plenty of money sitting aside to take care of rent and all that stuff. But 830 credit score, they told him they wanted an 850. We're still looking. That shop is a no-go. But it was a shitty location anyway. I feel like the liability was high. You have very little parking. So if you guys know anybody that's getting rid of any shops or lease or any of that stuff in Pennsylvania, let me know, because we need something soon, because I'm running out of time here. So I had to go through, break out that guy on these. These slides were absolutely seized. Which is terrible. So my buddy here, a little caliper grease, slap her on in there. I got most of the crud out. So we're going to get these nice and free moving. And then wherever I put the bolt, oh yeah, they are. You can see how bad those are. So I'm going to clean them off as well. They're a little bit Loctite on the end. Call her a day. We're going to go ahead. I've already started. I'm not going to lie. You can see the fluid. Fluid looks all right. We'll see how it looks when I open that up. And how much metal is on there. I took my gloves off. So I'm going to use a rag. Actually, not that bad. Looks like someone was in here servicing stuff recently. I usually don't take the whole case off like that, but since this is the first time in here, I figure I'll do it for you guys. Usually I just let it drain a little bit, and then we just tighten the bolts back up. You can see it still has the factory reusable gasket, so we are not going to put any silicone on that. We're just going to slap it back in. Besides that, everything looks good in here. Not really too many metal shavings. I say that as I see a bunch. Hard to tell on camera. I mean, she works. I beat the shit out of this thing, so if there's any issues or chips or anything like that, we'll get it taken care of in the future. This side put back together. Yes, I got a lot of grease everywhere. Clean that up, and I'm going to let this drain while I do that, and then we're going to go work on the oil change while this is draining. Here's where we are at. This one, so when you guys are dumping these in here, if you're not using the bags and you're stuck with bottles, a lot of times there will be plenty left over on the inside. So what I do is I'll dump a bottle, set it aside. That's the bottle I'm going to keep for the extra. Dump another bottle. Get it all in there. Okay, that's all I can get. I'll dump the rest of it in the bottle, and then that's where this bottle comes in. So this bottle was down to here, and we got another bottle down halfway, so I filled it up all the way. And then this is all we have left of leftover, so not a ton, but it's nothing I'm not worried about burning. I'm just going to go throw it in the burn barrel. But this is a completely full extra. It takes like 4 1/4 quarts. I'm going to go burn all those, and then this we will keep as a spare in case. I want to go over something with you guys. You guys can see right here, okay? Prep the surface, put a little bit of oil on the O-ring, spin it on, and then give it like one full turn. You guys can see this. Do not pre-fill your oil filters. There's so many guys out here saying you need to pre-fill your oil filters, and there's actually manufacturers specifically making these things with the filters upside down so you can't pre-fill them. Do not pre-fill these filters, okay? There's a lot of science as to why you should not pre-fill these filters. A lot of times these filters will kind of like, it'll actually ruin the filters sometimes if you start them after an oil change and you've pre-filled these. I don't know why. There's science behind it. I don't know. Some manufacturers do recommend it. Cummins does not recommend you pre-fill your oil filter, and in a lot of cases, you'll actually void your warranty if you've pre-filled your oil filter. So, just my 2 cents. I'm going to get a bunch of guys in the comments arguing about that, and it's going to be hilarious, and the video is going to get a lot of engagement. And there you go. So, I'm going to oil this up, and we're going to slap it on, and then we'll fill up with the Mobile Del Vac, and then I'll top it off with the T6 Rotella that I got left, and I'm just going to keep buying these things. All right, so here's where we are at. Oil change, Baldwin filter, Mobile Del Vac, 269857. We did outer rear axle seals and diff fluid, and we greased the front end. So I lifted the front end, wanted to check, make sure everything was good up here. It looks like a smidgen of the upper ball joints. I got to clean that trans. So I forgot where I was at because like everybody calls me at once. But I need to clean that little transmission leak. This is the only thing this truck leaks at this point. Like I went through, I need to do a video like comparing common rails and 12 valves because like common rails randomly like to melt cylinders, but like 12 valves just like leak oil everywhere and leave their mark. So in this case, like the only thing this leaks is that transmission fluid, and that's from the torque converter, and I cannot do anything until my other truck gets here. And it sucks. I just cleaned this thing. Look at that. Like, I just cleaned this thing. This is the problem with 12 wides. You can get me some 2-inch spacers to slap on top of that on top. But, there you go. So, no oil leaks. I did put Marvel Mystery Oil in there as well. And there you go. This thing just looks so good. Like, I really do like this truck a lot at this point. Like, I wasn't getting attached to it, but now I'm at the point where I have put a ton of time and effort into it. And it's just a good, all-around, reliable truck. Full throttle every day, beating the absolute piss out of it, and it just does it. This thing's going to be an absolute unit once we get the G56 and the injectors and the bigger turbo. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to turn it up too much in the beginning. I'm probably still going to run the same tune I'm on, but I do at some point, I would like to get head studs for the truck, and I would at some point like to get an upgraded clutch. Other than that, she is, oh yeah, and she definitely needs some darker window tint, so I'm going to stack some 5% on top of this, and still need to wire in this guy here. I haven't had time today, but we have some other things we need to handle. I need to grab this thing. I want to get this thing painted black at some point as well. This is the third time I've had to buy one because I ruined the first one. And the second one was too long. And I broke another one. So now we finally have one. Also, looks like I need bushings on this truck too. I just replaced them on my last truck. But yeah, that's gonna have to take care of that at some point. Somebody welded it. You can see, check this out, right? Look at all the weld splatter. So somebody welded that before. They took the tailgate off and whatnot. This tailgate's not bad. I mean, I'm not worried about the rust because the frame's perfect. A little bit of rust on the truck is fine. It's fine. We'll get it taken care of at some point. But other than that, we are done for the day. Everything should be all right. We're going to back this thing out. Customer's picking his truck up tomorrow. We're going to start planning and preparing for the manual swap this weekend. We got a customer coming in on Monday. The Mega Cab is coming back. We're going to finish up the diag on the ABS and the wastegate. So we got to get that done as well. So if you guys have anything, let me know. I'm going to keep pissing y'all off with putting grease on the slides and the brakes. But this thing is good to go another 10,000 miles. I shouldn't have to work on it other than... Actually, that's not true because I guess I do have injectors, turbo, and a trans coming. Fuck it. Oh, well. Somebody did. I don't understand where this came from either, but some weird weird marks and lines on this thing every now and again. I don't know. But yeah, that's going to do it. If you guys need anything, Steve at cpstevemiller.com. Go save yourself some money with mud flap, and I will see you in the next video. Ooh. Somebody buy that. $200. Later. Illegal crane attachment has been attached. This thing's an absolute tank since I did all those little welds down there. That was back when I knew how to weld. It got me. Yeah, well, I'll go over the damages later.